Have you ever felt that big shoe is going to drop on your shoulders and you're already carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders? Your head is spinning, you're bumping in the walls. All these metaphors that we use regularly show underlying states of anxiety, fear, overwhelm, and more. And the good news is we have a wonderful, powerful process that will help you that we're going to share in this video. Hi, I'm Philip Mountrose with my wonderful partner, Jane Mountrose, and we're here with Margaret, who's going to be a volunteer for the Monster Reframe process. We've been doing EFT and holistic coaching and healing for many, many years, decades, and we've developed a lot of innovative, effective processes as well. And as the saying goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and that's why we use imagery as we'll show you in this Fear Monster Reframe process. Jane?
Right. Yeah, I can't imagine being without this process. It's definitely a favorite for combating all kinds of monsters that can come up in your mind. As Philip said, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And it's a saying, actually, it came from advertising because it suggests that a single picture can effectively convey a complex idea. And I think you could kind of sense those already in some of the examples that Philip gave. Um, so we all know the ones like, I feel like I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. I can actually feel it when I say it,
Mm-hmm.
interestingly enough. Um, my head feels like a spinning top when I try to do something on the computer. I just can't figure it out. Or I feel like I'm not getting anywhere, like I'm dragging a ball and chain with me everywhere I go. I think we all can relate to what that means more than just what we're saying. And as Carl Jung said, the soul speaks through images. So we're not talking about something that's just kind of a flighty idea. Images like these are actually literal representations, or not literal representations, they're symbolic representations that reveal deeper truths within ourselves. And that's the whole key, is that even it's interesting in our work, we talk with people a lot, and these kinds of phrases will come out of their mouths without them even realizing that they have said them. And I think we all do that. We don't realize we're saying, just like I feel like I can't see through the trees, today, or something. Um, we say those things without thinking. So we're connecting with a much deeper part of ourselves, which gives us a real sense of the power of what these images can do for us. And again, then the potential power of the monster reframe, where, as with any EFT process, we take kind of a picture before and a picture after. And it's really dramatic in most cases how things change. Repressive emotions and limiting beliefs, like those ones mentioned, fear, anger, frustration, anxiety, um, they all can shift with often a single round of EFT. So we'll see how this works. We have a great example coming up, I think. It's like doing a process and telling an adventure story at the same time, which was, I think, one of the things that makes it so interesting. Um,
Right.
I wanted to give a very quick example. I confronted what I call the time monster recently, and I think so many of us experience this, where we feel like we're never catching up, like we're always chasing. And so I did a process personally, and what I saw was this grizzly giant kind of looming over me, walking behind me with a whip, kind of keeping me going. And the monster was about 12 feet high. I'm not even 6 feet tall. So you can imagine this big thing. Anyhow, it was frustrating and annoying. I measured both of those, frustration and annoyance, and they were around 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. So I did the monster reframe with EFT. And in just one round, this grizzly giant gave up his rampage. And it's interesting because he said he was exhausted from the effort. And by then, he was just about 6 inches tall. So I'm looking down on him. And it's so metaphorically, you can understand what that means in terms of what's happening internally. He actually was relieved at that point that he had some free time. And he thanked me. This is a really important part of it. He thanked me for taking my power back. So I was giving my power to him, my
Right.
power over time in this case. So at that point, I felt light and elated and free. And I understood it in a way that I don't think I would have if I'd done EFT without the imagery. Also, it's just amusing. You think back on it and you think, well, you must be kidding. You had this this thing looming over you, and now you don't.
Right.
So that's really amazing.
Yeah, we find that commonly working with people. I mean, I found it with myself that these big Godzilla monsters shrink into little kitty cats and so forth.
Right. And sometimes they almost disappear. They just kind of go running off.
Yeah, it's very empowering and it's a creative, almost humorous journey once you go through it,
Right. And
which
it's
we're
not
about
to
to.
say that these things are not serious either.
Yes, they're obviously.
It often brings levity to it.
Yeah, which is nice to inject that when things are so intense and overwhelming, which
Right.
we're about to see with Margaret, who's volunteering, who's uh, who's learned some of these processes and many processes. She's a healer herself and has taken our coach healer program training where we teach these kind of techniques. And she has a very relevant issue, I think, for us all about trying to help people who might not be in a very good place to help, namely her 88-year-old uncle who's suffering all kinds of health problems and what she can do about it. Margaret, you want to give us a little recap before we find the monster and shrink it down to size?
Or I'm really looking forward to finding this monster, I have to tell you. I'm kind of hoping I have an experience. I know I will have an experience like Jane, where it goes from being as big to being real teeny. Um, yeah, as you mentioned, I do healing work, and uh, what I'm dealing with right now is a family member, my uncle, who's very sick and got some, life threatening, probably end of life issues coming about. And dealing with that has been very difficult because with everything that I know, I don't seem to be able to help. And so then all these emotions get involved because it's stirring up things about stirring up fear because I can't help them. It's stirring up anxiety and the feelings of not being good enough at what I do because I don't seem to be able to help resolve anything for him. And of course, it's very difficult to do work for your family, and very often they say that you shouldn't
Right.
anyway. And so I'm in that position. I accept that, but it does not help me with the heart hurt that I'm having because I'm not able
Right.
to help them. And it's a couple of sleepless nights, and I just feel that this is bigger than it should be. I
Mm-hmm.
would like it to be something I have more manage over. And
Right.
intellectually, I know one thing, but emotionally, I'm feeling completely different.
So the emotions, just to give it a SUDS level, a standard unit of distress, to measure it 1 to 10, what is it? Helpless? You said overwhelm. You mentioned some things.
Yeah,
What emotion?
fear that I'm not good enough. I think is a
A,
pretty high one. If I could get,
a kind of a belief, a deep judgment of yourself, fear of not being good enough. One out of
yeah,
10, how strong is that?
that's a high. That's like it's probably a 9.
Yeah, so it's high. Okay, so we have
Yeah.
something to measure. So we'll use EFT tapping, and I'll just integrate that into this demonstration as we do it. We have a measurement, and the first thing is to begin to imagine that monster, the not being good enough, that
Hmm.
forming a monster. It might be a picture, it might be a sense, it might be a knowingness. Something will emerge to reveal this monster to you. And when you get a sense of it, let us know, Margaret, what the monster's like.
Well, he's right there.
Yeah.
It was he was already starting to come up when we even just started talking. Yeah, it's like a big oh, hulk of a smoky dark being. I mean,
Hmm.
like huge, like big muscular,
Hmm.
uh, powerful torso and arms,
Right.
burning eyes, but just like almost the edges of it are blurred, so he's almost gray, smoky kind of.
Hmm.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah,
How
Um,
big is he relative to say you? I mean, how big is this hulking?
he's big. I'd say, well, he's probably 10 feet tall because he's filling
Mm.
my entire room,
Mm-hmm.
and hunched over. So I've got
And,
8 foot ceilings, so he's
yeah,
bigger than
he's
that.
pretty
So
he's pretty wide, I guess, if he's very muscular.
yeah, very much so. Very
Yeah.
much so. Like
Okay.
it's almost as wide as he is tall. Imagine the Hulk, this big
Mm.
sort of
Okay.
bruiser sort of
Okay. So
thing.
very
Mm,
good. So we have something we can say the EFT tapping affirmation on the emotion or the judgment, self-judgment, even though part of me feels not good enough. And that carries
You
with it
know,
that
I think the word is afraid of not being good enough, if that's possible, because something about fear needs to be in there. It's just really ringing with me.
perfect. Yeah, let's get it exact. Good. And that carries with it embedded in that phrase is that monster.
Hmm,
Afraid
the
of
fear monster.
afraid of not being good enough. Okay.
Um, Afraid of not being good enough to help. I
Good
know
enough
that's a
to
little
help.
wordy, but it really is. That's, I think, if I
Yeah.
really want to
Well, that
pinpoint it.
sounds it's accurate, which is we want to be accurate. Okay. So we can tap the side of the hand um, and say aloud the affirmation, even though part of me is afraid of not being good enough to help,
Even though part of me is afraid of not being good enough to help,
I can still love and accept myself.
I can still love and accept myself.
Yeah, on my hero's journey.
Really. Hmm.
Yeah. Even though part of me is afraid, we'll just shorten it.
Even though part of me is afraid,
I can still love and accept myself.
I can still love and accept myself.
Okay. Even though part of me is afraid I'm not good enough to help, I
Even
can
though
still
part of me is afraid that I am not good enough to help, I know I can still love and accept myself.
be good. Okay. And we're on our hero's journey. So we're going to tap the EFT points and we could say release the top of the head releasing. We're releasing all that
Releasing this fear,
energy. Yeah. Good. And the eyebrow releasing
releasing,
and the side of the eye releasing.
releasing this fear,
Good. Under the eye releasing.
releasing,
Under the nose releasing.
releasing,
The chin releasing.
releasing,
The collarbone releasing.
releasing this fear,
Under the arm releasing.
releasing.
And we like to do end with the holistic EFT with the reset process tap across the top of the head, the left and right brain. And that helps you enter the field of pure potential where anything is possible, just tapping, balancing, breathing, and then tapping the heart to conclude it, integrating in your heart this field of pure potential where everything is in harmony, sync, breathing. Okay, relaxing. Okay. So that was one round of the holistic EFT on the Monster Reframe. And now we recheck the image of what's the image like now, Margaret.
He's smaller. It's
Okay.
definitely smaller, and he's not as dark. He was very dark gray, smoky.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's more pale.
Okay.
Um, I'd say he's probably about 6 feet tall.
Okay. How much fear, if that's what it is remaining? What's the emotion that seems to be remaining?
I don't feel like I'm experiencing much fear right now. Um, so I think it's probably down to maybe a 5,
You know,
four and
so
four, 5. It's
yeah,
it's
so it's
it's
about
it's still going down.
it's going half. So we'll just
Yeah,
tap again, the tap the different points to the remaining fear. So tapping the top of the head, releasing the remaining fear, releasing,
it's releasing this remaining fear.
and the eyebrow releasing and breathing.
Release,
And you can touch or tap to the points. So the side of the eye, releasing, balancing the
releasing,
energy circuits. Good. Under the eye, releasing.
releasing,
Under the nose, releasing.
releasing,
Under the lip, releasing. Lower lip.
releasing,
The collarbone, releasing.
releasing,
Under the arm, releasing.
Releasing.
And then just reset it again. We'll reset our brain, left, right brain, all the centers of the brain, balancing, breathing,
Releasing.
and tapping into the heart, including in that field of pure potential where anything is possible, breathing and tapping. And as things
Sorry, I'm laughing.
what's going on?
Oh my God. I got about halfway through that round and a Ghostbuster showed up with one of those backpacks. Sucked him up. So I just sucked him away.
Yeah.
On.
So
Oh
he
my
got
God.
sucked away into the Ghostbuster pack.
Sucked away in
Okay.
the Ghostbuster. And I keep hearing da 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 da.
Right.
Oh my God.
Okay.
That is
And,
so funny.
and yeah, how are you feeling now?
I have no fear. I mean, I'm actually I kind of want to say happy. Happy sounds so crazy that I'm happy, but I mean this visual that I had was just hysterical. And so I feel very light right now. I'm not feeling any
Wow.
fear.
Great. So
Yeah.
just in the next step, when you think about, say, your uncle and dealing with him and other maybe situations, what
Yeah.
comes to mind now?
Well, I'm still seeing the Ghostbuster there, and he's just sucking up like just little things that are all around my uncle.
The debris. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. That's really amazing.
So what's your response, your attitude toward your uncle and helping him or just being with him or dealing with him?
I feel like what I'm doing is the right thing. That so what I am offering in the way of help is what I'm supposed to be offering and what's called for, and I don't need to be self-sabotaging with all the coulda, woulda, shouldas and
Mhm.
maybes. You
So
know,
you're doing what you can in terms of helping him
yeah. I
with
hadn't
this.
even really thought of it in that term of the coulda, woulda, shouldas. I hadn't thought about it
So
really.
so actually you are already helping him.
Yeah, yeah. That what I'm doing is helpful. Yeah.
So you
And
you took away the fogs and the could have, would have, should haves, and you're actually in the right place at the right time and doing some nice support, holistic support for him.
yeah,
Right.
that feels very right. I mean, I'm actually visualizing now. I see my uncle sitting there and he's sort of just he's surrounded by a glowing light. So I mean, I
Wow,
feel really good about that. And
great.
I couldn't allow myself, or I couldn't find myself there. I'm not going to say allow myself. I couldn't find that myself to that. Like um I think I might have mentioned this, or I don't remember, but I intellectually I knew things this way, but emotionally I was feeling things in another
Right. Yeah.
way. And so intellectually I know that this is the path that we all take, and we all have to go through the journey to grow old and have things not go well. And I can't expect anything other than that really. And now I feel comfortable with that thought again. It's
Hmm.
my heart is comfortable with that thought where
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't
Right.
just minutes
Yeah.
ago. I was
Yeah.
very heart sick about it. You still keep seeing the Ghostbusters. Um,
That was great, Margaret. That was a
yeah.
wonderful process. Thanks for volunteering
Yeah.
to do that.
Wow.
That
Philip,
was
you might want to move your microphone back closer to you.
that was illuminating. So Jane, did you want to have any final comments on that process as we're beginning to wrap up this monster
Yeah.
reframe?
Yeah. I think every process is unique, as you can see. And I think Margaret did suggest something that I wanted to mention, which is one of the things about the reset is when you tap on your head, it integrates the shift in your mind. And then when you tap on your heart, it integrates it in your heart.
Hmm.
Right.
So, and you were talking, and you might even want to put your hand on your heart, Margaret, and
Well,
just again connect with the truth in your heart, because that's really what is most important. Is that we're connect. That's where the soul connects with the body. That we're connecting with what is right for us, which we know in our hearts.
hmm.
Does that bring up anything else? Just mentioning the heart specifically.
Well, just that the fact that I definitely I wasn't balanced.
Right.
It wasn't
Yeah, you
balanced.
weren't able to make that connection. And that's
No,
that's
no,
what ultimately we were wanting to
no,
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the thing is, when you're worrying about somebody, you think that that is a heart, heart
Right.
connection, but it isn't necessarily a heart connection, because worry is not a positive, loving emotion. It's a
Yeah.
negative emotion,
Yeah.
right?
Right, but it's a heavy heart, and what you want to
Yeah,
do is
I,
to realize what you were saying. This is a natural part of life, and I want to support him through that in a way that is positive and supportive,
yeah. And so,
rather than
yeah.
being kind of like thrown off and not. Then I'm not even present to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't feel I definitely felt, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
not connected. I wasn't
Yeah.
connected.
So
Right.
that's a wonderful shift, Margaret, because you go from that part of the brain with the ruminating, recycling negative thoughts of worry and fear of survival and stuff to these positive, heart-centered, light-hearted, light in your heart,
Yeah,
like you did.
Right.
I actually feel a little silly that I couldn't seem to get here. So,
Well, but that's life.
yeah,
We're learning,
yeah,
and EFT can really help us to do that.
Yeah,
And
that was
it's like an adventure story with a happy ending, or so
yeah,
far, that at least you're in a place where you can be supporting him. It's not necessarily that we feel great about someone having big struggling, but
I can
when your
feel good
heart
though.
feels free, then
Yeah,
you can send. I always figure, if nothing else, I can send love,
right. And I
and
can
sometimes that's all
feel it.
that's needed or possible.
right.
Mm, I definitely feel like I am, what I am. I feel better now about what I am capable of doing. That
Right.
it is enough. It
You
is
are
enough.
capable,
Yeah,
right? Because if he is going through, you said it seems like potentially heading towards a transition. Um, it's not it's not like it's our role or your role to stop it. It's like, no, we don't want this. Sometimes it's time, and
yeah,
you can be there for that, for
Yeah,
in whatever positive way you can.
yeah,
yeah. And that's it. That I can feel good about what I am able to do.
right.
Right.
It's
Right.
enough. I keep hearing that in my head. It's enough.
Yeah, yeah. With that recognition and
Wonderful.
acceptance, there's a lot more love that you're generating, which you demonstrated beautifully, Margaret.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is it?
thank you so
Yeah,
much. I'm
right.
Yeah,
still
you're
hearing the
welcome.
Ghostbuster theme song in my head.
Yeah. So,
Right. It's interesting because before we started, you were saying, I don't know if I can get it with this, get that kind of result with this. And
I know.
and that's the thing,
It's like, I hope I
we're in a
get.
place where we don't realize
Yeah.
that we've given our power away and we can get it back, which is great.
hmm
Yeah, because I was thinking, boy, I hope I can get something like Jane did.
Right.
And so thank you, because I hope that it happened.
and,
So,
and you certainly
yeah.
did. So you went on your own hero's journey, as we all do. And why do we do that?
Right.
Well, not for the ego, but rather for the egoless, the selflessness to fulfill our goals, our dreams, to help us accept what's going on, so we really can be much more service and really fulfilled and enjoying our life. Um,
Can I add one more thing?
yes, please.
Um, and I think this is probably important for people who say, I can't see images. Actually, that's not true. And these are the kinds of things we approach in our training. It's just a matter of knowing how that works for you, and there are keys to it that we all have that
Right.
ability.
We do. Yeah, and this video is a good introduction for you. For people who want to go further, we have a spiritual coaching and healing with EFT program. You can find out about it at tinyurl.com/HOL coach or gettingthrough.org/life-coach. Um, and remember that you are stronger than those inner monsters. The inner monsters are ultimately here to point out something, to reclaim your power with a process like we shared today.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Margaret. That was really great.
That was
Really
great.
welcome.
And we're happy to be part of that too.
Yeah,
You
thank
bet.
you.
Yeah, and if you liked the video, you enjoyed it, please like it, subscribe, ask questions, share it, and hopefully we'll connect with you in the future in the next video or
Right.
in the next training. We look forward to that. you reframing your inner monsters to have a life more fulfilling to help yourself and other people.